Hey guys, Curtis with Wander with the Workmans here, and today we're going to be talking about Rockhound State Park near Deming, New Mexico. So this is a bit of a catch-up video for us, actually. We've been to Rockhound State Park twice now. It's one of the few campsites that we've actually repeated in our travels thus far. And the reason we ended up in Rockhound State Park each time is because we were on our way to Tucson, Arizona, where my brother lives. In fact, that's where I'm actually sitting right now. But in looking back at some of our videos, I realized we didn't actually do a campground review of Rockhound State Park. Now, the reason for this is, well, I got distracted by other things. The first time we were at Rockhound State Park was when the starter went out on this truck. And I got so involved in making that repair and then making a video about that repair that I just totally blanked on making a campground review. So here's your campground review of Rockhound State Park. And it's kind of interesting because it's the tale of the same park told twice, or a tale of two parks. Logistically speaking, if you're looking for Deming, New Mexico on the map, it is between Las Cruces, New Mexico and Lordsburg, New Mexico. And it basically splits that trip right in half. So it's a nice stopover spot. The park itself is about 10 miles outside of Deming, New Mexico. So that's about where you can find it on the map, and it searches very easily as well through Google and Campendium, those kinds of things. Logistically speaking, in terms of the park, all of the sites are very nice. They're almost perfectly level. They have a gravel base on them. You have water hookups as well as power hookups that offer 20 and 30 amp service. Now, all of the sites have picnic pavilions with tables as well as fire rings with cooking grates on them as well. All of the sites also have a very nice view of the Little Florida Mountains, which are very close to the park. In fact, they abut or are at the base of the Little Florida Mountains. And then you also have excellent views of the Florida Mountains as well. There is a dump station on site. There's no sewer sites other than the campground host sites, but there is a very nice dump station available there as well. They also offer 3 shower stalls per side in their restroom facilities. And so one thing I learned while we were there this last time, actually, is that the operating procedure for most New Mexico state parks is actually to have a hot shower and a warm shower and a handicap shower. And you'll notice you have no temperature control on your shower valves. There is some temperature control in the handicap stall, but the normal stalls don't have a temperature control valve. They just have an on and off button. So investigate the showers when you go to a New Mexico state park and find out which one is the hot one and which one is the warm one. That's how you find the temperature you prefer. But in terms of showers, these have got to be the best showers in all of the New Mexico state parks that we have gone to so far. Rockhound State Park has the best and most consistent hot water. And so definitely check out the showers. Well worth the visit just on their own. Now, something to be aware of with this campsite. It is small in terms of number of sites, and it is incredibly popular. It's popular for a couple of reasons. First of all, of its location. Obviously, it's on a major thoroughfare to places like Tucson or Quartzsite, and so it does get a lot of traffic in that respect. Also, they allow you to rockhound. It isn't just a clever name. You can hunt for geodes and thunder eggs and take up to 15 pounds of rocks per day out of the park. And so a lot of people who are into amateur geology and rockhounding go there quite frequently, and that makes it a very busy park. My suggestion would be, if you're really concerned about getting a site, that you use the New Mexico reservation system. Now, we have tended to avoid the New Mexico's online reservation system, mainly because they charge a convenience fee, and if you list that you have pets, you pay a pet fee that you wouldn't pay when you just drive up to the park and ask for a site. But in this case, if you want to get in, it's maybe worth the little extra cost to use the reservation system. with that in mind, this is where it becomes a tale of two parks, or a park of two experiences. The first time we were there, prior to Christmas, it was actually so busy that we ended up parking in the group area. They had no reservations for groups, so they just lined up extra campers there. Now, in the group area, it can accommodate 4 RVs with water and 20 or 30 amp service. So we were in there pretty tight. We got to know our neighbors pretty darn well. In fact, Steve and Diane helped us out a bunch with our repair on the starter by helping us get to town to the parts store and that kind of thing. So it was really nice. And the group area is wonderful as well. But when you get an actual site, it takes a really great park to being a wonderful park. You have a little bit more space to spread out. The views they're angled better for viewing the mountains and the valley out beyond them. And so, like I said, it just adds that little bit extra to get an actual site when you're at Rockhound State Park. Another interesting thing about this park is it's actually close. It's technically 2 parks. There is Spring Canyon State Park, which is only a mile from the campground in Rockhound State Park. And Spring Canyon is a day use area, but one of the neat features about this is apparently in the 1970s, Iran gifted a small flock of Persian ibex to the United States. Now, if you've never seen an ibex, they're kind of like a mountain goat kind of looking animal. And in accepting this gift of this small flock of ibex, Persian ibex, we had to put them somewhere. And it was determined that the area around Spring Canyon and Rockhound most closely resembled their natural habitat in Iran. And so they were placed there. And actually, there's a pretty thriving population of Persian ibex around Rockhound State Park and Spring Canyon State Park. So something to keep an eye out for. Apparently, they're mostly active in the early morning hours. So if you are wanting to see them, you'll need to get up pretty early. But they are there, and it's a neat feature. In terms of things to do in Deming, or in the area, first of all, Deming has a Walmart. And it is a full-service Walmart, so you're able to stock up and do whatever you need to do there. And in fact, if you pull into Rockhound and find out that the park is full, one of the strategies is to actually boondock in the Walmart parking lot. They're very open and welcoming for that and understand exactly what you're doing. So it's possible to boondock in the Walmart parking lot for a night and then drive out and get a site as people leave Rockhound State Park. Also want to recommend Campos Mexican Restaurant. Now, this quaint little mom and pop shop is on Gold Street. It's a little bit out of the way, and the storefront is very unassuming, but the food is definitely authentic. And actually, they have a very, very good touch with seafood. So I recommend anything with the shrimp in it, because the shrimp has been perfect every single time. And in terms of dessert, they have a frozen lemon meringue custard pie thing. You'll see it on the menu, and you want to order it. Trust me, you want to order it. So get the lemon pie also if you're at Camp House. Now, the other thing to recommend is the most unusual restaurant we have discovered in our travels, and this is the Adobe Deli. You will see signs for quite a few miles preceding your entrance into Deming or to Rockhound State Park that Adobe Deli claims to have the world's best French onion soup and the best steak in the Southwest. And those aren't lies. It's absolutely 100% true. The thing is when you leave Rockhound State Park and get on 549, you actually have to go away from Deming about 5 or 6 miles down the road, and then you take a turn onto a road you would not assume had any kind of business on it whatsoever. And you drive until the road ends. It's only about 2 miles, but there is this building at the end of this road, and it's got some pole tents outside and old wagon wheels and that kind of thing. You go around the front, you got to kind of hunt for the entrance. And I know this is all sounding very like laborious, but trust me, it is definitely worth it. You go inside, you finally get inside, and it's kind of an interesting experience. There's animals all over the place. There's taxidermied animals all over the place. There's a pool table. They've got a big big projector playing basketball or whatever, and there's a taxidermied alligator in the middle of it, go with it. Just go with it, because order the steak. They are not lying. The steak is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick. It is cooked to perfection. The French onion soup is to die for. It is really neat. So check out the Adobe Deli if you're in Deming, New Mexico. So there you have it, you guys. That's our basic breakdown of Rockhound State Park near Deming, New Mexico. There's a reason we've gone back there twice, and we'll probably head back there a third time as we head away from Tucson this time as well. Definitely check it out. Maybe think about making some reservations if you're feeling a little risk adverse. Now, something happened the first time we were there, and I want to ask your advice about this. I seriously want your answers down in the comments below. One night while we were there the first time, I come out of the showers and have my headlamp on, and I see a couple of lights out in front of me, reflections, eyeballs. And so I turn my head, and I get the headlamp trained on where these eyeballs were at, and it turns out it was a skunk. It wasn't a stray cat, it was a skunk. So I backed away and took a very long circuitous route back to our campsite because I wanted this guy to have as much space as he felt comfortable with. So here's the thing. I get into the trailer and I say, guess what I saw on my way out of the shower? I said, I saw a skunk, and Havla looks at me and she goes, if you get sprayed with a skunk, I'm divorcing you. Now, here's what I need your input on. Would you divorce your spouse if they accidentally got sprayed by a skunk? Leave your answers in the comment below, and keep this in mind. I totally understand. If I were to mess with this skunk and got myself sprayed, I totally understand it, because there's something about certain white guys where they're just like, that thing will tear your face off and eat your glorious beard in 2 seconds. I'm gonna grab its tail. Let's do it. If I were doing that kind of stunt, I totally understand Havla looking at me going, I don't want to be married to anything that stupid. I gave it its space. I backed off. So the question is, if your spouse accidentally got sprayed by a skunk, would you divorce them? Leave your answers down in the comments below. Hey, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this campground review. I hope it gave you some good information. Definitely check out Rockhound State Park. In the meantime, if you guys would be kind enough, do all those YouTube-y things. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this with your friends, and don't forget to ring that bell so you get notified anytime we put out a new video. Also, if you want to keep up with our more spontaneous adventures, you can follow us on Instagram. We are Wander with the Workmans on Instagram. And in the meantime, you guys, catch you down the road.